You know, we're all real supervillains deep down inside. Some of us are just better at hiding it than others. My name is Kahi, and today we'll be going over my personal favorite topic in Bionicle, a top 10 villains. Number 10, Nona. Nona is one of the last new villains to grace the original Mataverse, but she made a mark for herself as one of the most interesting villains that we've seen yet. An ancient native to Spheres Magna before even the Great Beings, Nona grew her power from feasting on dreams. She was responsible for the demise of the Iron Tribe, who soon grew mad and died from their dreams being harvested. Recently realizing that planet was free of the Great Beings, Nona returned after years of hiding to try and consume new dreams again. But she was ultimately defeated by one of the last remaining Iron Tribe members, Samad. While her tenure as a villain was indeed short, she definitely stands out as one of the more creative enemies that our heroes had to face. Number 9, Hawkman. One of the first villains that were introduced in the Bionicle lore, Hawkman was a born traitor who would cause trouble for the Matoran time and time again. He set up the Metronui Matoran to be kidnapped by Nidiki, and then worked the Makuta Pterodax to sell infected Koli balls in the Pokoran market. He was briefly the Piraka of Metronui during Makuta Pterodax's takeover of the Matoran universe, but he was demoted back to obscurity when the giant robot had a bad case of head trauma. Nonetheless, as one of the first villains that we've come across, Hawkman has earned a place on this list as a traitor that the Matoran underestimate time and time again. Number 8, the Piraka. The original gang of the Bionicle universe, the Piraka were greedy, selfish thugs with a darker sense of villainy. The 6 Skakti Dark Hunters were more competitors than companions, each teaming up with the other but planning to backstab each other with every chance they could get. After completely taking over the island of Boyanui in search of the Mask of Life, they completely curb-stomped the Toa Nuva. However, their victory was not to last, as the Toa and Naika made short work of them soon after. Nonetheless, their striking appearance and group dynamic made them a very memorable force to be reckoned with. Number 7, the Brotherhood of Makuta. The Brotherhood were originally supposed to be the ruling will of Madanui, keeping order in the universe, but they soon fell to corruption and became one of the largest players in Makuta Pterodax's plan. The Makuta were soon entangled with a war with the Dark Hunters and later the Order of Madanui, all while being strategically maneuvered by Pterodax himself. But they were soon all killed following their leader's ascendance into power, to ensure no others would be there to challenge his newfound throne. Number 6, roodaka. Some kings are figureheads, others just merely puppets. Sidorak may have thought that he was the one in charge of the Vizorak, but it was really roodaka who pulled all of the strings. It was her who was responsible for freeing Makuta from the Toa seal that the Toa Metru had imprisoned him in. She not only manipulated Sidorak, she was able to convince Vakama to betray his team, and also manipulated him into unknowingly freeing Makuta. A true manipulative genius, underestimating her will only lead to your inevitable defeat. Number 5, Karzani. While Madanui and Makuta were initially introduced as brothers, that connection better describes Karzani and Artaka. These two powerful beings contested in a duel for the fabled Mask of Creation, which ended up not working in Karzani's favor. Disgraced, he turned to opening a nightmarish repair shop, one that deformed Matoran and made his island the closest thing to a horrible afterlife the MU inhabitants could dream of. Couple that with probably the most hideous mask ever designed in the Bionicle line, and you have a mechanic made from your wildest nightmares. Number 4, Toa Tuyet. Some rules were meant to be broken. At least that's what Toa Tuyet believed. This fallen hero felt that the Toa Code left much to be desired, and took matters into her own hands by breaking one of the core tenets of the code, do not kill. After murdering several Matoran to kickstart her plans for a new Toa Empire, Tuyet was ultimately defeated by her teammates Likon and Nidiki. However, one alternate universe shows what would have been had the Toa not intervened, the results being a no-nonsense dictator who's clearly in the Empire business. Number 3, the Shattered One. The Shattered One has long since taken his place high on the totem pole of Bionicle villains. He started his own mercenary service, the Dark Hunters, that has stood up to even the Brotherhood of Makuta itself. He is vicious, cold, and calculating in his eventual conquest of the Matoran universe. His cunning mind is primed to make sure that he never feels a bit of mercy, going so far as to employ his own Dark Hunter to watch over his every move, with orders to kill him if he thinks his employer is getting soft. That kind of dedication to the job is what earned him his place in this list. Number 2, Makuta Pterodax. Characters have turned evil for all sorts of reasons in the Bionicle universe, but nothing quite stings like always being treated as second best. Makuta Pterodax could have just been a humble member of the Brotherhood of Makuta, but his jealousy just couldn't let him settle for that. Instead, he launched a multi-tiered vengeance plan on the entire universe, overthrowing his own leader, Miserix, and ultimately winning out in his plan to upseat Makuta as the true Great Spirit. He orchestrated every event he was able to have a hand in, and truly outsmarted the Toa on nearly every level, all in the pursuit of becoming a god. You can't really get bigger than that. Well, almost. And that leads us to number 1, the Great Beings. Everyone makes mistakes, but some mistakes carry too big of a consequence to just overlook. Any and every problem in the Bionicle storyline can be traced back to the biggest villains in the series, the Great Beings. Instead of knowing how to quit while they were ahead, the Great Beings' experiments led them to not only rip apart their own planet, but caused them to build a giant robot to study and eventually just repair all the damage they had caused. This nearly backfired when their backup plan got taken over by a mad megalomaniac who could have raised destruction over the universe had he not been stopped. Say what you will about the evil of the Shadowed One or the genius of Makuta's plans, but if there's someone to blame for all the atrocities in the Matoran universe, one doesn't have to look any further than the ones that created it. But hey, that's just our opinion. What are yours? Be sure to post your own personal top 10 lists in the comments below, and to also continue the discussion over at the message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. This has been Kahi, and thanks for watching.